What's up, you guys? Jack here. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a map similar to BIOS Zone Wars Trios. If I made a really cool map and people actually make tutorials on how to build my map, be honest, I would be pretty upset. So I won't be showing you guys a exact replica of BIOS Zone Wars. I think that would be very disrespectful for the actual creator, but I will show you guys a similar type of style to this map. Quick shout out to Bio. Bio actually has a YouTube channel. You can find his YouTube channel in the description. Now this map here is actually pretty similar to another map that I actually made a tutorial on my channel, which is Go Goated. These two maps are pretty similar. You know, the major difference between these two maps, Go Goated, you actually are forced on a specific team when the game starts. Also on this map there are only 4 teams. On BIOS Zone Wars you can actually decide what team you want to be on every round. Also there are 5 teams in total. Now these maps are pretty similar, and you know, it's 2 different styles, 2 different types of Zone Wars. You know, my favorite one would probably be Go Goated. It is a really simple map to make. The BIOS Zone Wars, it's a little bit more complicated. Make sure you guys smash the like button if you guys enjoyed this type of Fortnite creative tutorial content. Subscribe if you guys are new. Also use code JackjackHD in the item shop if you do want to support me and this channel. Let's get right into it. Now first thing, what we're going to do, we're going to make a new island. So we're going to create new, and you can actually use any type of island you want. Well, anything that's flat. Now if you want to be similar to BIOS Zone Wars, you can use the grid island, but I'm going to be a little bit different. I'm actually just going to use a metal island, and I'm just going to call it BIOS Zone Wars. So once you're in your island, I'm going to quickly change the time of day in my island. Then in the settings tab, time of day, I'll just set it to 4 p.m. so it's daytime. Alright, so first steps, we're actually going to set up the starting area, and I think the starting area is probably the most complicated part of making a map similar to BIOS Zone Wars. Now this tutorial is kind of like an intermediate tutorial. You know, I'll go through the settings, I'll go through the different devices, but try to keep up with me if you're a little bit newer, and feel free to pause the video and rewind if you need to. I don't think anyone wants to watch a 30-minute video of me building this. So how we're going to do it, we're going to go to creative, we're going to go to galleries. These are the obstacle course gallery, and what we're going to do, we're actually going to use all 5 colors, which is the orange, purple, red, blue, and green. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to select all of these. Once we have it in our hotbar, we'll go off to the side of the map and we'll place every single gallery, and we're just going to place it on top of each other, just like so. Alright, so we got the 5 different colors here. What we're going to do is take a random floor, doesn't matter what color it is. We're just going to grab the floor, and we're going to start building our starting area. With the floor, we're going to build it outwards 8 times. We're going to grab another floor and another color, place another set of 8. Again, grab another color, do the exact same thing, rinse and repeat, then do the same thing over and over again. Alright, so that has been set up, and you should have something like this. Next, go and take the first wall color. I suggest real quickly the details on this. Our red wall on the back is actually black, so we're going to stay away from that and actually use the solid red color, just like so. Then use the other color, which is purple, and all we're going to be doing is matching the walls with the floor. Once you're done, it should look like this. You got the floors and you got the walls matching. Next, what you can do, you have a lot of options. Obviously on Fortnite creative, you know, there's no rules, you can be creative. In my case, what I actually do is take the wall on the side and then build on the corners. Same thing with the other side. And lastly, I'll fill in the walls on both sides, just like so. What we're going to do is select all the walls using the right on the D-pad if you're controller. We're going to select all the walls, and you can see that they're actually highlighting green, meaning that we're copying it. And once you selected all the walls, we're actually going to go on the outside, grab the wall, copy it, and lift it up. So now from the inside, the walls are 1 floor higher. Next, we're going to use the same technique, select the floors. We're going to select all the floors. Go on one of the corners, copy it, lift it up, and then place it on our ceiling. Now if you don't like the black or the solid white color for your ceiling, you can obviously go back to your galleries. Just like the walls, some of the floors actually have another color. So to fix our problem, we just take a solid color and then replace it, just like so. Next, what we're going to do, I'm actually not going to explain what I'm doing here, I'll just do it, and it should make sense from everyone's point of view. We're going to take the floor, place it, take the wall, place it. Same thing with the other colors. And there we go. And yeah, it's not looking too bad so far. Next, what we're going to do, go to devices. We're going to set up our player spawns. So player spawn pads. With the player spawn pad, we're going to place a lot of these. So I suggest placing like 16 of these. But before we do that, go into the settings for that player spawn. Priority group, set this to primary. Use this island start, turn that to no. Visible during game, turn that to no. One player spawn, transmit on channel 1. Alright, so next, copy the player spawn. And we're going to place another one. But this player spawn will actually have another settings. One player spawn, transmit on. This will be set to channel 2. Now, what we're doing here is pretty important. If you don't set this up, then you're going to have a lot of issues. Next, we're going to copy that player spawn. Make another one. Go into the settings. We're going to turn off priority group and set it to none. Go into the first player spawn. Copy that. Go into the options. Priority group. Turn that to none. So briefly, the reason why we did that, for the people that are interested in learning, not just copying what I'm doing, the priority group will actually force players in your game mode to spawn on this player spawn no matter what. And we're going to connect channel 1 and channel 2 to a class selector, which will actually force them to be on a specific team. So when the game starts, there are going to be 2 different teams. But the reason for 2 teams at the start of the game is so that people aren't on the same team. If everyone was on the same team when the game starts, the game would actually end automatically. Also in the game settings, we'll actually have it set to custom. So next, what we're going to do, we're going to take our second row of player spawns, which doesn't have priority on. We're going to do copy that player spawn, and we're going to place 6 of these just behind this one. After you place 6, and we're going to go to our second set of player spawns, and we're going to select the one that doesn't say priority primary. And then we're going to copy this 6 more times. Just like so. In devices, we're going to go and select the class selector. We're going to place it up here. Team to switch to, team 1. Time to switch, instant. Change player to team 1 receiving from channel 1. Then I'll copy that. Make another one. Team to switch to will be team 2. And also change player to team 1 receiving from. I'll set this to channel 2. And there we go. Next, 2 galleries. We're going to go into the search bar, and we're going to type in OBS. And what we're going to be looking for is obstacle course parts gallery. We'll go outside and then place it. And as you can see, we got numbers here. And I'm pretty sure you know what we're going to be doing with this now. Bring it to your starting area. You can rotate it. With the numbers, there's a lot of options. You can get creative and place it wherever you like. You can probably place it behind like so, or you can place it above. It's all up to you. So once you're done, it should look like this. Well, I decided to place the numbers at the top, and I don't think it looks too bad. Next, 2 devices. We're going to have to select a class selector. We're going to place it underneath our numbers. Then go into the options. Team to switch to, team 3. Time to switch, instant. Respawn player on switch, very recommended. I think this is very important actually. Make sure that's on yes. Size volume 3 meters. Visible in game off. Color, we're going to have the color set to the color of the side. For me, it's purple, so I have it set to fuchsia, which is a brighter purple. Disable when receiving from channel 7. One team switch, transmit on. We're going to set this to channel 3. Make sure you guys have these channels correct. Alright, so from there, we're actually going to get into some complicated territory. If you're not really familiar with triggers and class selectors and teams, this is a good time to learn.
A few moments later.
Alright, so we're going to do something a little bit different here. I'm actually just going to show you guys the settings from these triggers. If you want to know where the trigger is, just go to devices. Here is a trigger. With the trigger, you can go in the settings. And here is the first settings you'll need. So first trigger, triggered by player, off. Triggered by vehicles, off. Sequencers, off. Visible in game, turn that to no. Disable channel 4. Trigger 1 receiving from channel 3. One trigger, transmit on. This will be set to channel 4. Copy that trigger, place another one. Here are the settings that you'll have to change. Enabled on game start. This is very important. Remember this, you gotta disable this. So in all options, just disable this. This trigger will be disabled at game start. And also enable when receiving from. We're gonna set this to channel 4. Disable when receiving from channel 5. One trigger, transmit on. This will be set to channel 5. You can go ahead and just copy it, place another one. Here are the options. Is enable when receiving from. We're just going to bump it up by 1. Now it's channel 6. One trigger transmit on. This will be channel 6 instead of channel 5. Alright, so next thing we're going to need is our final trigger, which is that big one that, that's under animal there. Go back to devices, select a trigger. Here are the options. Triggered by player, off. Triggered by vehicles, off. Triggered by sequencers, off. Visible in game, no. Trigger when receiving from, channel 6. One trigger transmit on. This will be set to channel 7. Next, we're going to place down a name system. So, anytime someone goes into the objective or this class selector, a name will pop up. Their name will pop up in this area. We're going to find our player reference. Now, here are the options for the player reference. Show hologram, off. Hologram effect strength, off. Show base, off. Show player details, mid player. Player details, curve amount. I suggest no curve or small curve. Register player when receiving from. Set that to channel 4. For some reason, the hologram is not straight. If you like, you can keep on rotating it. And you can actually set it to grid snap none. And then you can, straighten out the text if you like. When you're happy with it, you can go ahead and place it in your capture area. Next thing you can do is copy that player reference and then place it off to the side. Only option you have to change is register player when receiving from. Just add 1 point to it. So now it'll be channel 5. With that, you can copy that, place one off to the side for our third one. Take the previous one, and then you can place it in our capture area. Same thing with our last one. We're going to have to change the register player when receiving from. Just bump it up by 1. Now it's channel 6. Then we can place it in our capture area. Now, one thing I'd like to point out, while you're doing your text, I recommend using grid snap 32. You might have a little bit more room to work with in, aligning your text. So our triggers, briefly, our first 3 triggers are triggers connected with our player references, and our final trigger is connected with our class selector. Once 3 players activate the class selector will disable and the hologram will disappear. Alright, so next things we'll have to do is place down 4 more of these, and we're gonna have to change the settings a lot, and it might be really complicated. I'm gonna go through it. It took me some time in understanding the mechanic and activating only one text at a time, but obviously I figured it out with the help of Animal here. He was my my helper. We're gonna select the triggers, and if you can select your capture area, and we're gonna copy one of the floors, and I'm gonna drag it over like so. Animal's impressed. It's a lot harder than it looks. What we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to change the class selector, then change all the settings for the triggers.
Eventually.
So this is actually me from the future. This is after recording myself building this whole map. Now, I actually looked through my footage on this section of me explaining all the triggers, explaining all these options for all these devices, and I looked at it and I was like, this looks like crazy complicated. So I decided to record again and actually show you guys all the settings, and all you have to do is pause the video, and you're just gonna have to adjust the settings to the appropriate device. We were on the red team, so team to switch to, team 4. Also, disable when receiving from will be channel 12. Then when team switched, transmit on, this will be channel 8. Now we'll go through the triggers. Here are the options. Make sure they're matching. And the next trigger. Once again, if you need to, you can pause. Now the third trigger. Our last trigger. So a option, you can actually go and select all your player references from the first team. Then when you have them selected, you can select the wall, then copy that and then place them on all the other teams. So now with the player references with our second team, the idea is you're going to match these player references with your triggers. So if you look at the triggers, you'll actually see a channel on them, and all you're going to do is match those numbers with the player references. You go to the very top. If you select it, here are the options. Register player when receiving from, this will be channel 9. Second one, if you can reach it, it's very difficult to select these player references when they're really close to each other. This one here is channel 10. One thing I'd like to clear is the reason why we have it set to team 3 first for the team 1. Reason why we have that is because our first two teams will be our starting teams. In the background options, it'll be team 3 to team 7. So we'll continue here. The third team, our class selector, here are the options. Team to switch to will be team 5. Disable will be channel 17. When team switch, transmit on channel 13. Pause if you like. Okay, our first trigger. All right, next one. Third one. Last one. Then obviously channel 14 will be the top player reference, so have register set the channel 14. Then the second one, channel 15. Then the third one, channel 16. If you look here, you can see that it's the exact thing that I explained. Channel 16 for register, second one 15, and the first one is 14. So you can see that the channels are matching with our player references. All right, fourth team, class selector, team 6. Disable when received from channel 22. When team switch to, transmit on 18. All right, first trigger. This one doesn't have a disable, so it's enabled on game start. Disable when received from 19. Trigger when received from 18. When trigger, transmit on 19. Yeah, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of channels. Next one. This one's set to disabled. Third one, also set to disabled on game start. Last one. There you go. Then player references matched with our channels. So our first one at the very top will be register from channel 19. Second one will be register from channel 20. Hopefully that makes sense. The one at the top, just in case someone out there is confused, 19, register 19. It's matched up with this channel. Second one will be channel 20. And that is matched up with the second one. Then the last one, you already went through it. It'll be channel 21. All right, last team, class selector, team 7, which is our last team in our game mode. Disable channel 27. When team switched, transmit on channel 23. First trigger. Second one, disabled on game start. Third one, also disabled on game start. And our last one, player references. First one will be registered to channel 24. Second one will be registered to channel 25. Last one will obviously be registered to 26. And there you go. I haven't tested it out with all my players yet, so I don't know if every single option is correct, but either way, I feel pretty confident. You can test it out with your friends. And yeah, let's continue with our tutorial.